So this is my vow. All gods will die.
Gore the God Butcher vowed to kill all gods, and we are here to prove that his mission was part of a cosmic plan to save the multiverse. And get this, it all connects to Galactus.
How exciting.
Welcome to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy. On the surface, Gore's crusade looks simple. The gods are all depicted as selfish and cruel beings, so killing them doesn't sound all that terrible.
What?
Okay, it is terrible. Gore was pretty much a god serial killer who also kidnapped and terrified children. But saying that all gods must die because some of them are bad, that is way too simplistic. It reduces the whole thing into something so narrow and uninteresting. Gore represents something that the gods have lost, and that is accountability. We don't just want to explore the failings of the gods, we also want to explain their true nature. And we believe we've uncovered who actually created these gods and what is their actual purpose in the Marvel Cosmic Universe. But that's not all. We have also uncovered the insane secret behind the necrosword and why the god-killing blade was trying to get to eternity. We think that the necrosword is connected to Galactus, and killing the gods is all part of saving the multiverse. Now, it might sound crazy, but by the end of this video, trust me, it will all connect. And all of this explains why the universe itself agrees that Gore was right.
I'm not a hypocrite. I'm truly creating peace.
Alright, so we've got a lot of ground to cover with this video, but we should start with a quick refresher on Gore's motivations because that is the core of everything that we're going to talk about. Gore and his people withered away on a wasteland after being forsaken by their god, Rapu. But Gore was a devoted believer. His faith never wavered, even when his daughter took her last breath in his arms. And then Gore met his god and witnessed the true, ugly nature of him.
There's no eternal reward for you, dog!
Rapu was a selfish narcissist with no regard for his followers. And as if by faith or some other preordained cosmic plan, the all-black necrosword ended up in Gore's hands at that exact moment.
Is that the necrosword? That's cool. I've only ever read about it in stories.
This blade can kill gods. The necrosword shows Gore visions that point him to eternity. Eternity is a powerful entity that basically works like a cosmic wishing well. The blade tells Gore to kill all the gods. And after meeting his god, Gore is down for some god butchering. Now remember the stuff about the necrosword. It's going to be very important later in this video when we uncover this connection between the blade and Galactus.
We've got a cosmic connection.
That's right, we've got a cosmic connection.
Hey, I know this is off topic, but are we going to cover X-Men 97?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I loved the X-Men cartoon when I was a kid.
Oh, person, I thought you were going to eat healthy this year. Don't eat sugar cereals like that one.
I am eating healthy. That's why I'm eating Magic Spoon, our partner for this video. Now, Magic Spoon tastes like all the cereals from my childhood, but it has no gluten, no soy, and there are 0 grams of sugar. And it's the same cereal that Star-Lord was eating in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But most importantly, guys, it tastes so good.
Or what kind of flavors do they have?
Oh, dude, well, you can build your very own custom box from cocoa, fruity, frosted peanut butter, and maple waffle flavors. Plus, they have other awesome flavors, including honey nut, blueberry muffin, cinnamon roll, birthday cake, and chocolate chip cookie. Right now, I'm eating one of my personal favorites, peanut butter. And you can also add their marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter cereal treats to your order. Each bar has 11 grams of protein, just 1 gram of sugar, 1 to 2 grams of net carbs, and only 130 calories.
Oh, okay, so Magic Spoon fulfills your need for childlike nostalgia while also engaging with you on an adult level.
Exactly, man, but mostly, it's just fun. Like, we may be grown-ups, but be the grown-up you always thought you were going to be back when you were a kid. Eat cereal and watch Marvel TV shows. It's perfect for reluctant adults like us. In fact, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So, if it's not for you, they'll refund your money and you can part ways as friends. So, start the new year off right by clicking the link below or scan this QR code on the screen and use the code ScreenCrush for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/ScreenCrush to get $5 off your first order with Magic Spoon. Now, back to what I was saying. Now for now though, let's focus on why Gore was right about killing the gods. From what we know about the gods, there are no cosmic rules that prevent them from helping people, like Thor is living proof of that. So that means that while Gore's people perished, Rapu chose to ignore their pleas for help. He took their faith for granted because he's a god and they are simply his devotees.
There's no one left to worship you.
There'll be more followers to replace you. There always are.
Now he might not have killed them himself, but his indifference makes him so incompetent he might as well be evil.
Yeah, kill the gods, they're no fun. They do nothing for us, we mortals.
Alright, relax, we're not getting genocidal here.
Sorry, President, I got carried away. Are we piling on the gods or not?
This isn't about real-life religion, and we're not talking about the gods in the comics. We are talking about the gods in the MCU only, and how they're depicted in the movies and shows.
These guys come from legend, they're basically gods.
There's only one god, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
This brings us to the crux of Thor: Love and Thunder, the Council of the Godheads. It's an alliance of gods from all realms and worlds. Thor and his friends go to them for help when Gorr starts butchering other gods. Gorr became disillusioned with the gods after he met Rapu, and Thor has a similar experience when meeting the other gods, especially his childhood hero, Zeus.
You went to the gods for help and they did nothing. We're alike in that sense.
The gods live in their cloud city, partying and drinking and self-congratulating themselves, while the realms they're supposed to be protecting are burning. The Council of Godheads does not protect the universe. They don't help anyone but themselves. They're basically as useless as the Galactic Senate, only worse because they actually have power. Zeus and the other gods decide to ignore the threat of Gorr simply because it doesn't concern them. As long as Gorr's butchering is happening far away and it doesn't affect them personally, those things might as well happen in a different universe. Now this makes these gods complacent.
That guy, he killed a couple of low-level gods. Boo-hoo.
They deem all the gods Gorr has killed as low-level gods, who aren't worthy of joining their exclusive god club. Now this is exactly how Rapu saw his followers, as lower life forms, seeing the lives of mortals as expendable.
Is this not your natural state? You were made to be ruled.
So the gods are essentially a bunch of entitled billionaires, like the ultra-rich elite, so out of touch with us little people while the planet burns all around them.
Person, I'm smelling politics.
Well, I mean, that's the point of the movie. Taika Waititi depicted the gods as the wealthy elite, and he was not subtle about this either. But this isn't about eat the rich and out-of-touch billionaires running the world. None of these gods stepped in to stop Thanos or Ego or Dormammu or any of the other countless universe-ending threats.
Who do you think we are? The God Police?
But considering that the gods' biggest worry is this,
Where are we going to hold this year's orgy?
they're morally bankrupt. And it's more than the gods not helping. They are so out of touch that they refuse to lift a finger for their own self-preservation. Because if Gorr reaches eternity, then all the gods would die.
He's not going to make it. He doesn't have the key.
5 minutes later.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening!
But at the very least, the gods could have protected the universe through their avatars and champions. See, some of the other gods work through human vessels. For example, Black Panther is the avatar of Bast. Moon Knight is the avatar of Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon. And I think that the Scarlet Witch is actually the vessel of the chaos magic entity Chthon. But I don't think Chthon is invited to these parties on account of him being like an evil Dark Lord.
He was not invited!
However, when Zeus finally called upon Hercules, it had nothing to do with Gorr. He sent his son after Thor because he felt humiliated.
You sit on a throne of lies.
So all these guys deserve to die just cause they suck.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Doug. These gods are ineffective. However, they are not that bad compared to some others. In the MCU, there are 3 kinds of gods: those who do good, those who do nothing, and those who are there just to do harm. And those are some of the most destructive beings in the universe. Gods who seek only to destroy, only to enslave, only to gain power and conquer more realms for their own arrogant and vain reasons. For example, the Ennead. The Egyptian goddess Ammit was planning to punish countless humans for crimes that they might commit in the future. Arthur Harrow, her avatar, created a murderous fanatical cult in her name. The moon god Khonshu and Moon Knight stopped Ammit. However, Khonshu is a malicious god himself. He abused Mark Spector's dissociative identity disorder for years.
Oh yeah, and what about the Celestials?
Right, and the Celestials killed more people than any of these gods.
A celestial like a god?
Small g, son.
They see life in the universe only as a resource to create celestial babies, and this is very similar to how the gods see all of their followers. They even used to mow down entire worlds. Then we meet Ego, a celestial who wanted to reshape the universe in his image by killing trillions of people. Even the good gods like Odin failed. In his youth, Odin was a conqueror who waged war on the 9 realms. And all of his children became warmongering gods at one point or another. Thor started a war with the ice giants simply because his ego was hurt. And then Thor and Loki brought their sibling squabble to Earth simply because Loki's ego was hurt.
You are all of you beneath me. I am a god.
And Hela was planning to conquer the 9 realms because her ego was really hurt.
Did you pray to the gods when the women you loved lay dying on the battlefield? Did you beg them for help?
Not to mention Thor's midlife crisis at the start of Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor helps the Guardians of the Galaxy protect these blue aliens from marauders, but he's so consumed by battle frenzy that he destroys a religious temple that's sacred to these Indigarians. And then he acts as if it's a triumphant victory while the temple collapses in the distance.
Good job.
But in this scene, we also see the film's overall message about the MCU gods. The gods that these people worship did not descend from the heavens to protect them. Instead, these people were saved by superheroes, and remember this for later. And Gorr's crusade forces Thor to question the nature of godhood. Gorr indirectly unveils the failures of the gods and ultimately proves how unworthy they are of their cosmic status.
Is this the purpose of the gods? To hide away in a golden palace like cowards? Maybe we have lost our way.
And this raises an interesting question. What is the purpose of the gods in this universe? These are beings who hold way too much power. Some of them even control whole realms and worlds. They have responsibility on a cosmic scale. But what even makes them gods? The Asgardians were depicted as aliens with advanced technology that was mistaken for magic. The Asgardians visited Earth thousands of years ago, and we humans started to worship them as gods.
But I do believe they think I am some sort of god.
So, the Norse myths were based on aliens from a magical upside-down iceberg. Cosmic entities who age really slowly, but as Odin says here,
we are not gods. We're born, we live, we die.
And this is true for most gods in the MCU. These myths are based on aliens, magical and supernatural beings. Then at some point, these aliens started seeing themselves as gods. This is confirmed in the Eternals. The Eternals influenced human history. They created the stories that served as the basis for many mythologies and gods. For example, the stories of Icarus are based on Icarus.
The boy who flew too close to the sun.
Sprite made that story up when we lived in Athens.
Gilgamesh is the inspiration for the hero from Mesopotamian mythology with the same name. And apparently, the Greek goddess is actually Athena.
It's Athena.
Just Athena. No A.
But the part about the Eternals influencing myths and religion is super important, and it could even explain the true purpose of the gods. Because we believe that the Celestials are the ones responsible for the existence of the gods.
What? The gods are just a bunch of space robots?
No. They're all flesh and blood. We're not saying that the Celestials created them, but they are responsible for their godhood.
What if I was a robot and I didn't know it?
You see, in some depictions of the gods in the comics, like the 1999 Earth X story, they were genetically modified by the Celestials. The movie The Eternals takes a lot of inspiration from Earth X, like how the Celestials are born. In this story, the Celestials manipulate life on these planets and trigger mutations that create superhumans. This is how the Asgardians became superhuman gods. Their purpose was to protect the seed worlds, and we believe that this is how the gods were created in the MCU.
But that's simply not possible.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
The Eternals were created to defeat the Deviants, but the gods serve as protectors of the seed worlds so the sentient life on that world could flourish and protect the baby within the planet's core. So the gods created religions to cultivate civilizations. Faith draws people together, creating larger communities. And more sentient life equals more fuel for these celestial seeds.
Suffering for your gods is your only purpose.
So this is the true nature and purpose of the gods. Gods like Zeus believe themselves to be superior to all other beings. In truth, though, they are nothing more than pawns for their own gods. This would explain the presence of two celestials in the god's city. They're there to look over their creations.
The gods will use you, but they will not help you.
And this recontextualizes their purpose in the universe. After all, what is the difference between Thor, a mighty god, and Captain Marvel, a being with godlike cosmic powers, or the Scarlet Witch, who can reshape reality? Because outside of the mythological gods, there are like unofficial gods, beings who are not part of any pantheon but are still worshipped as gods. Like Thanos the Mad Titan, he cultivated a giant army of followers because they believed in his crusade. They worshipped him like a god.
You have had the privilege of being saved by the great Titan.
And then there's the High Evolutionary. The Sovereign were created by the High Evolutionary, and they worshipped him as their creator and god. He genetically engineered countless life forms across the galaxy, which is also very godlike.
He's created whole societies. Corners of the universe consider him God.
The High Evolutionary exterminated his creations. He committed heinous acts against other life forms because he believed himself to be their god. He even shouts at one point,
"There is no God! That's why I stepped in!"
This mindset parallels Rapu. Both of them believe themselves to be gods who can do whatever they want with those who are inferior to them.
So why are the gods like this?
Well, many of them, like the Asgardians, likely began as protectors, but somewhere along the way they started developing a serious god complex.
Is that we put them on pedestals. They become symbols, icons, and then we start to forget about their flaws.
And living such long lives and being worshipped by so many, it just kind of did something to their morality. The lives of mortals became expendable. And so what Gore is right about isn't killing all the gods. It's the fact that gods no longer serve a cosmic purpose. However, mortals see them as gods. They pray to them, they worship them. Many mortals are willing to do anything for their gods.
My daughter died. In your name.
Religion and faith can be a beautiful thing. It can give people hope and purpose and make them be better human beings. But there's an ugly side to this as well, and we know this from our own history. How many wars and genocides were committed because of religious crusades? These beings who call themselves gods can influence countless minds to do anything for them. And you know the thing about absolute power.
Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
They refuse to change, and they will not concede their absolute power.
Gods don't have to choose. We take.
This makes them dangerous, and someone must enforce them. And we believe that someone did. Someone created the necrosword to enforce the gods. And now we have arrived at our wild theory about the necrosword and how it connects to my man Galactus.
This is where the fun begins.
Okay, so in the comics, the all-black necrosword was created by an ancient god of darkness called Null. He's also the creator and the god of the symbiotes, the symbiotes like Venom and Carnage. Null forged the sword to kill gods, but the gods he was killing were the Celestials. And this is why nowhere is a severed head.
And kill everyone in the head of that dead god!
Now Null is great, however, he is not part of our theory. We believe though that in the MCU the sword was forged by none other than Galactus. Now, we admit this up front. Galactus has nothing to do with the necrosword in the comics, but this is not as far-fetched as it sounds, we promise. We believe that we can connect the sword to the World Eater and explain why Galactus would even need a god-killing weapon.
Show me.
Gore wanted to kill the gods because they had failed him. However, he was a simple man. His murderous streak started only after the necrosword corrupted him. And that means that the sword is sentient. It wanted to kill the gods, and it wanted Gore to bring it to eternity, an entity that could grant it any wish.
What do you think a guy called the God Butcher would wish for?
So eternity is at the center of this all. Now we don't know much about the MCU's version of eternity other than the fact that he grants wishes and he resides in the center of the universe. In the comics, eternity is the embodiment of the universe, and he encompasses all living beings in the universe, even time. Also, the entire multiverse is embodied by a multiversal version of eternity, but they're all basically the same guy with these little cosmic toes. And that means that if eternity dies, the universe would die with him. So we have to go on a bit of a tangent on eternity and the cosmic gods, but we promise that it all connects back to our theory and why Gore was right. Now, our first introduction to eternity was actually in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Peter found the Power Stone in an ancient temple on Morag. That temple contained a mural wall depicting 4 cosmic entities: eternity, infinity, death, and entropy, and they surrounded the Infinity Stones. Now this could signify that these beings were the ones who created the stones. That would make sense since each of these beings represents an aspect of reality. Eternity and infinity embody the universe. Death is, well, death of all living beings, and entropy represents the end of the universe. In the mural wall, entropy looks like he is stabbing eternity. And this is meant to symbolize that entropy will be the death of the universe.
So wait, who's Entropy? Some new bad guy I don't know about, or is it going to be Kang or something? Or is it Kang?
Not Kang. Entropy is represented by none other than Galactus. And this mural is a prophecy depicting Galactus killing eternity with the necrosword. Galactus is entropy. He is the harbinger of death for the entire universe.
Wait a moment, person. Are you saying that Gore is right because the universe is going to end? How does that even make sense? I'm just playing devil's advocate here. That's kind of my role in these videos.
Okay, you're right, but there is a reason why the universe needs to end, and it's all the gods' faults. In the comics, eternity and infinity are siblings, and their opposite forces are death and oblivion. All 4 of them are beings in the same cosmic league. Now, entropy is one of eternity's children.
Did you make a penis?
What is wrong with you?
If he's a planet, how could he make a baby with your mother? He would smush her.
We assumed that the MCU have switched the roles of Oblivion with Entropy. However, neither Entropy nor Oblivion appear in Eternity's temple at the center of the universe. The temple includes the statues of Eternity, Infinity, Eon, Death, the Living Tribunal, the Watcher, and a statue of a celestial. And those guys are the real gods of the universe. So let's go over these beings really quick. This is important. Eon is a cosmic entity who in the comics created the quantum bands, and those of course appeared in the Marvels. They're bracelets that created the jump points that allow hyperspace travel in the universe. The Watcher is the being who watches over the multiverse, and the Living Tribunal is basically everybody's boss. He represents the highest authority in the multiverse. The Celestial statue represents the One Above All. Now in the comics, two distinct entities are called the One Above All. This One Above All is essentially God in Marvel Comics, and that is like uppercase God. This One Above All is a Celestial. He's basically the leader of the Celestials in the comics, and he is responsible for the existence of the multiverse.
I request elaboration.
So this is how it all connects. You see, long before the multiverse, there was actually one universe in all of existence. This is from the comics, by the way. So the one living being in this was called the First Firmament. It was the embodiment of this first universe, and it's also the predecessor of eternity. The First Firmament created the Celestials, and they were the first living beings in existence. And then there was a war, and the One Above All shattered reality, and that is how the multiverse was born.
Oh yeah, like when Superboy punched a wall a bunch of times.
Yes, like when Superboy punched a wall a bunch of times.
I understood that reference.
Since then, though, there have been multiple incarnations of the multiverse. However, the multiverse keeps ending every time. This cycle is similar to what's happening with the multiverse in the MCU. In the show Loki, we discovered that the current version of the multiverse is not the first, and the previous one ended because of a really big multiversal war. A war started by the Kang variants. And as of the time of us making this video, Kang is still the main villain of the saga. Now, a version of Kang called He Who Remains ruled every single point in time in this one remaining universe, which makes him another tyrannical god. And in the final episode of the show, Loki basically created a new multiverse. And so, the reason why the multiverse keeps collapsing in the MCU is likely due to the incursions.
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes and they collide, destroying one or both entirely.
We believe that since reality was shattered in that first universe, the multiverse is in a constant state of imbalance, and this is why this keeps happening. That means that the gods are responsible for this multiversal crisis. The Celestials, eternity, and the other cosmic entities that predate the universe will carry over into this next cycle, while everybody else is going to die. And these gods are mostly indifferent to this process. So now are you noticing the parallels between the cosmic gods and these like lowercase gods? They're all so trapped in their cosmic schemes that they simply cannot see the suffering and destruction they're causing on everyone else. And this is the very reason why Galactus forged the necrosword, a weapon meant to kill the gods.
But why does he want to kill gods?
Galactus is a survivor of the previous incarnation of the multiverse. Back then, he was known as Galen from the planet Ta. Now, Galen tried to stop the end of the universe and by extension, the end of the multiverse, but he was too late. Just as his universe collapsed, Galen was chosen by the embodiment of the multiverse, who was an earlier version of eternity. This entity merged with Galen. So when the multiverse was reborn, Galen was reborn as Galactus, the devourer of worlds. And so the origins of Galactus connect to everything we said about the multiversal cycle. Galactus' universe was destroyed because of the cosmic imbalance the gods have caused back in that first reality. Galactus isn't so different from Gore in that regard. They're both victims of the gods, forced to lose everything they cared about because the gods hold so much cosmic power, and they are indifferent to the hurt that they cause to everyone else in the multiverse. Now, at the same time, this can also connect to what we know about the multiverse and the Kangs. Their war ended the previous multiverse, and that includes Galen's universe. And the Kangs were able to erase entire universes because of that cosmic imbalance created by the gods. And like we said before, the Kangs are playing gods by messing with the multiverse.
I know it all, and I've seen it all. I paved the road.
As you probably know, Galactus eats planets. He needs to consume energy that is found in worlds full of life to sustain himself. He's not evil though. He must feed on energy to maintain the cosmic balance of the universe. When he consumes a world, all of its energy is then stored inside Galactus. He's sort of like a mobile black hole. His purpose is to absorb the energy of the entire universe until it ends. And then Galactus will restart the next universe with all of that stored energy.
So the Big Bang is just a giant space vomit?
Yeah, but it's not as gross as it sounds. Anyways, Galactus is the harbinger of death, but he's also the bringer of life to the next cycle of the universe. And this makes him entropy. Eternity essentially created Galactus to serve as his inevitable entropy so the next universe could exist. Galactus serves as entropy in that mural wall on Morak, killing eternity with the necrosword.
Okay, so then why did he create the necrosword?
Okay, so this is our theory. Galactus is aware of his purpose. He knows that he is entropy, and he also knows that once the multiverse ends, his job is to birth the next multiverse. But this reality will once again be manipulated by the gods, meaning the endless eternal cycle will continue forever unless someone puts an end to it. So Galactus believes that the only way to break the loop is to free the multiverse from these gods. Galactus must serve his purpose. He must feed, so he cannot go around killing the gods himself. And this is why he created the necrosword. So, after he created the sword, Galactus needed a trusty herald to go on a god-killing spree.
Like the Silver Surfer?
Right, Galactus had many other heralds before and after the Silver Surfer. The first among them was the Fallen One. He controlled dark matter, sort of like the dark energy that Gore wields in the movie. Well, it's more like shadows.
Potato, tomato, potato, tomato.
The thing is, though, that the Fallen One was so cruel that Galactus had to fire him, and the Herald has tried to kill his master ever since. And here is how it all comes together. Galactus must serve his cosmic purpose, even if it means that he must end countless civilizations in the process. So, from a certain point of view, he sees himself as a higher life form. This made Galactus into the very thing he hates, a cosmic god.
Ironic.
Galactus programmed the necrosword to kill gods, and the Fallen One began seeing his master as a god, and then he tried to kill him. Now, this might have happened when Galactus was about to eat Ego's planet, meaning that Galactus was about to eat the celestial seed planet before Ego was born. And then the Fallen One attacked Galactus, and this is how Ego became an anomaly among his kind. Anyways, Galactus survived the attack and disposed of his herald. The necrosword was lost, and since then it has fallen into many other hands. And the sword likely corrupted Gore and the others because they were mortals. You see, the sword is sentient, but it couldn't make the distinction between the cosmic gods and all the other gods in the universe. When Gore found the sword, it imprinted the mission into his head. The sword wants to get to eternity. The entity then grants Gore his wish to kill all the gods. And then Gore would fulfill the mural wall prophecy by killing eternity with the sword, thus ending the multiverse. But luckily, the sword shattered before Gore got the chance to finish the job.
So wait, why is it a good thing now?
Well, Galactus hasn't accomplished his purpose yet. He needs first to absorb enough energy to restart the multiverse. He's supposed to fulfill his entropy role and create a god-free universe. The plan didn't work out, but there's still hope. Ereshkigal chose Earth as Tiamat's seed planet. Humanity's only purpose was to feed the celestial egg and then end their existence come the emergence. But as Ajax told Ereshkigal and Icarus, humanity has proven itself worthy.
5 years ago, Thanos erased half of the population of the universe. But the people of this planet brought everyone back with a snap of a finger.
This is the world that gave birth to the Avengers, who are arguably the most important heroes in existence. These heroes prevented the universe from ending multiple times. This is even proven by Zeus's speech at the end.
When did we become the joke?
He goes after Thor and other superheroes because they made him as a god obsolete. The universe has new and better gods, superheroes, and Thor is proof of that. Thor is a god at war with himself because, unlike the other gods, Thor doesn't expect to be worshipped. In fact, other than his God of Thunder title, Thor never acts like a god. He protects everyone, no matter which god they believe in or where they're from.
Because that's what heroes do.
For most of his life, he was told he's worthy just because he can swing around a magical hammer. He had to learn humility and what it meant to be a regular human being to understand how to become a worthy hero. The other gods can't change or evolve or seek to become better because they're so defined by their godly nature.
Life is about growth, it's about change, but you seem to just want to stay the same.
But Thor seeks to find something that actually matters to him as an individual. And so Gore was right that the Age of Gods had to end. But Gore's decision in the end might still save the universe. He wished to resurrect his daughter, Love. So Eternity grants that wish, but he brings Love with a cosmic upgrade. She's got cosmic abilities and she can even wield Stormbreaker. Now that is really impressive on its own. It is a weapon that cut through the power of all 6 Infinity Stones. It can summon a Bifrost. But don't forget why Thor forged the axe. It can kill Thanos. And Stormbreaker might be another god-killing weapon. And this time, a godlike superhuman is wielding the god-killing weapon. And this ties back into what we said about superheroes being the new and better gods. Love, with Thor's guidance, could be the first member of a new race of god heroes who will bring balance to the universe. And this is why Gore was right. He and Galactus were trying to free the universe from the gods. Neither was successful, but in the end, Gore's action made Thor into a better god. So it's possible that Thor could make a change in the pantheon of gods, and even find a way to stop this multiversal cycle, especially now that Loki is overseeing the entire multiverse. These are 2 gods that could join forces with Galactus and break the cycle of death and rebirth.
I know what kind of god I need to be. For you. For all of us.
Is this a great way to incorporate Galactus into the multiversal crisis or not? And was Gore right about the gods? And I want to give a major, huge shout out to the writer and editor of this video, Mr. Pavel T. His work is amazing. You can see him here on ScreenCrush all the time. And by the way, thanks again to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this video. Just a reminder to scan this QR code or click our link below and use the code ScreenCrush for $5 off. Or go to magicspoon.com/ScreenCrush to get your $5 off today. So let us know what you think about this. Tell me down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.